Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle Channel, and today we're going to play Heartaches by the Number. Heartaches by the Number was a request from Don, one of my supporters on Patreon. This is a song written in 1959 and recorded by Guy Mitchell. He did a smooth Nashville sound version of this, but the same year Ray Price recorded this song and he did a much more honky-tonk feel to it. Ray Price did it in B flat. We're going to take Ray Price's arrangement but move it to A, which is a much more friendly key. The fiddle part, which is very prominent, I think was from Tommy Jackson, and he played on a lot of these Ray Price songs. Let's start off with the intro, which I always think is the most important part of this type of song from the fiddle player's point of view. So it starts off with a very strong and distinct kick-off, like that. And I do have a video all about kick-offs, which I think you'll find helpful. We do it right down at the heel, down here, a down bow, lift off, do another down bow, and hit them really as hard as you can. And so we've got an E drone, but the notes we're fingering are those. Okay, so I'll go through the rest of the intro slowly. 1, 2, 3. So we got quite a few ornaments here. This is a very typical Tommy Jackson style with loads of hammer-ons. So that kind of thing, and so this is something I think he copied from Bob Wills. Really useful ornament. We have what I call a quadruplet, which is, I'm sure is not the classical term for it, but that it's like a triplet but with 4 notes instead of 3 notes. Here's another quadruplet. Now, if you listen to Tommy Jackson a lot, which I have done, in the early part of his career, he double stopped everything. So that's how he would have played it before he started playing with Ray Price. But I think they decided that they had to kind of clean up the sound in some ways. So apart from the opening, that bit, there are no open string drones. So let's go through that intro again. And then it's into the verse. I will give you next the vocal line for the verse and the chorus. And I always think this is very valuable, even if you never actually play it, because it helps to give you the shape of the song. It helps you with the chord changes, and it shows you where the spaces are in the vocal line. So let's just go through now the verse and the chorus. So that's what the voice is doing. Now, during the verse and chorus, you have several choices as to what to do. I think the most important thing to notice here is that this is using what's called a Ray Price beat. It's a thing that goes very much with honky tonk. It's something he kind of invented, and if you listen to Crazy Arms from 1954, this was the first song which used this particular beat. And whereas the bass would normally have been going 2 to the bar, the bass on all of these kind of songs goes, it's a walking bass with 4 beats to the bar. And the guitar is doing a rapid answer to that, so it's dum cha 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 that. So what can the fiddle do? Let's put it on again, and I'll show you 2 different rhythms you can play behind that. So that's the first one. So the first one is a really good one. It uses part of the technique of chopping, in that we've got a down and an up. And we're getting a sound from the up by just an ever so slight twist of the bow, maybe a slightly forward scratch. So we're getting a bang, and you're holding it down there, and then you're hearing the chord as you lift off. So that's a pretty good one, but if you've never done chopping, you might find that quite hard. I suppose a simpler version would be that, but it's a lot less controlled and it gives you less rhythm. The other suggestion is, so we got down, up, lift off, slap down, and then lift off. And a simplified version of that, again, not as satisfying, but still quite useful. So either of those would fit in nicely behind the chords. As regards which notes to choose, what I was doing there, A was a E over an A, a D over an A maybe, E, an E over a B, and back to the A. An alternative would be to take the, use what I call the 3-chord trick, which is starting on the 3rd of the 1 chord, which in this case is going to be C sharp. And then your 3 are lying right next to one another, kind of in line. 1, 4, 5, 1. Look at my 3-chord trick video for that. So let's go through the verse and chorus, and I'll do various different types of rhythm. So I added a couple of extra ones there. So we did the long chords. and that was used in the 3-chord trick version with these slightly higher chords. And I also did some shuffle. And that was a swinging Nashville shuffle. And I've got a video on the Nashville shuffle. I've got another video on backup in general, which includes all of that kind of stuff. So, did Tommy Jackson do any of that on the original recording of this? And the answer is no. Having said he didn't do any of that, there was actually way in the background something approximating to that, but the pedal steel actually takes up most of the backing. But chances are you're not going to be playing with a pedal steel player, and you may even be just doing this with a duo or something, in which case almost any of those suggestions I've given already are going to work. Okay, there's a solo when in fact Tommy Jackson plays exactly the same as the intro, so you can just do that, or you can do an improvised solo, which I won't go into in detail here, but I'll just give you a little example. We'll use the intro as the solo. Now, one of the things I was doing there was I was paying very careful attention to the chord changes, and each time a new chord starts, I will play a 2-note shape which shows what that chord is. So that's changed to a D, E, A. So you play the chord and then you improvise mostly around the major blues scale. And one final thing is I try and signal the not only when the chord has changed, but when it's about to change. So we're obviously going to a D. We're obviously going to an E. And I go in some detail into this in a video called Joined Up Country, which is all about how to knit the chords together using the fiddle when doing either solo or backup. Okay, I hope you found this useful. A PDF, a free PDF is available to subscribers, and all of my PDFs are available on my Patreon page. I'm going to play you out with a full version from the intro, with backing, with soloing, with whatever I feel like. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.